Hi, and welcome to another episode of the MateCoach Show. I am Kanika Sago, and here with me today is Maryhope Wanjau. Maryhope is a counseling psychologist, and it is so good to have her here with us again. We'll be discussing today in today's topic guided meditation and mental health issues in relationships and better mental health. First, I wanted to actually just kind of start off with some kind of important statistics in terms of guided meditation. And this is just statistics that are important to understanding the benefits in a relationship. The statistics are rooted from the pandemic of 2020. So, certain studies show that married couples consistently reported better mental health, fewer days of depression, anxiety, worry, and loss of interest in life throughout the pandemic. And that's one set of statistics in terms of that. The other statistic, so from the pandemic time period in 2020, was that married individuals were also less affected by disappointments in the labor market and job prospects. So, why is this? What does this due to? What happened during the pandemic that made married couples go to this type of thinking, this type of planning? Well, married couples consistently made decisions during the pandemic time period that led them to making positive commitments in their relationships, such as working with guided meditation practices. So that's something that was very useful to them during um, the pandemic time. And there are so many studies that consistently show that they're worried for themselves and the vitality of their long-term marriages, relationships, but having good mental health. So they weren't so worried about disappointments in the job market or job process. They were very much concerned about having better mental health as a couple. And so now, with that being said, what is guided meditation? Because there are so many different forms of guided meditation. And what it is meditation. It is meditation process where a person is led through meditation by a guide or another person. And so the thing with guided meditation is that it positively targets great and lasting results. It's for the purposes of positive results. And with any type of guided meditation format or practice that you use, it's always good to see a professional counselor or a professional therapist. And so, in terms of that, Maryhope, what can you further address about guided meditation in relationships and mental health? What are some of the key areas that you can explain further for people in a relationship, long-term vitality, um, in a marriage, in a committed marriage?
Okay, thank you for having me, Kanika.
Oh, likewise,
Um,
Maryhope. It's good to have you here at the MateCoach show again. Um, good to have you here and discussing with us about this important topic in relationships.
so first things first, guided meditation isn't something that's new to us. Um, meditation spans from 5,000 years ago, rooting itself in India. And it was mainly used in spiritual traditions by the Hindus and the Buddhists. And from there, looking back at the pandemic, 2020, 2021, it came to a point where people needed something that could work in their lives. Just so you know, this was a time of great constraints. There was this new illness. There were financial struggles. There were relationship constraints and all. And so people opted for guided meditation. And as of now, I can say that it is working. It is working for individuals. It is working for married couples. It is clearly working for everybody, and the outcomes are quite positive. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, when you say the it's clearly, I would say that it really reached its like peak during the pandemic, because even before that time period, a lot of people, couples, were not really, they were just in basic therapy counseling, and it may have not been supportive of any type of meditation format or any type of method. And so it really reached a very positive peak during the pandemic. A lot of webinars and just internet types of online experience that help people really understand it more. And so after that, they were able to really just merge into just having some some further in-person positive experiences with it. And the things that I've heard in terms of guided meditation is that it really helped to prepare them better as in their relationship and with their families. It helped to really disroot or dislodge and dissolve a lot of challenges, past challenges that they had had. The couples had mental issues such as anxiety disorders, certain disorders that we've all come to understand a lot in recent years. And those disorders for them, through meditation practices, guided meditation practices, decreased for them quite drastically, with one or even both of the members of the relationship going into a therapist or a counseling a counselor for that type of assistance. So with the appointments with guided meditation, even if it was just one of the partners going, it really helped decrease some issues, disorder, the symptoms or the onset that they had had for years, whatever disorders they may have had and even been taking medication for. It helped decrease the symptoms, and it helped to decrease of the medication. So there were some very positive benefits in that. Can you tell us a little bit more about the history of guided meditation? Because I thought that was very interesting. Or, just not so much. I mean, if you can let us know more about the history and any other areas where it may have been a benefit, past benefit. You mean success stories for a certain type of guided meditation? Because like I was saying at the beginning, there's so many different types. So can you tell us a little bit more about the history and maybe some success stories, maybe using a certain type of guided meditation, um, your journeys that maybe people may have used, and you can tell us about more about positive benefits with that.
Okay. Um, Looking at the past use of guided meditation, you can find that it was mainly used to train awareness and attention, and you'll find that uh, in um, in in parts or in various parts of the Asian countries, you'll find that a lot of religious people used to use they used this practice because at the time there was nothing else other than connecting to their soul, to their self, and with this it brought about a lot of positive energy within them. Um, and with this positive energy, it allowed them to be functional in many areas of their lives. And the various techniques that they used, you'll find that there's focused meditation, whereby you focus on a certain object. For example, mantras. And then there is open monitoring, whereby there's mindfulness and some aspects of awareness of mental events.
Okay, that's really um, they're very good formats. I've heard a lot of useful and quite benefits about that during the years. And just people in general speaking about it. Um, the one thing about the practice of certain types of guided meditation is helpful in so many different types of rehabilitation processes for people. A lot of people hear about it in terms of people who suffered from past use with serious drug activity, serious uh, habits with narcotics and things like that. You hear about, that was one of the methods that, there's so many things in terms of keeping them holistic and together and off certain drugs. And that was probably one of the methods that was best helpful to them and that helped them dramatically just stop. And then there are other people who they have injuries. They suffered injuries based on, in couples, one of the person's, the health is, they may have had an accident or something like that. And the guided meditation, the format that they used was very helpful in terms of that. So it's one of the methods that a lot of people use in integrated medicine. They use guided meditation with perhaps another form of curing for people. And it's been helpful to, like I said, increasing the vitality of a married couple and in families, just the family unit in general, because you find that a lot of people, they want to provide for their grandchildren. They really want to extend. It's not just the relationship extends just to not just you and I, the man and the woman, and we've been married so many years. It extends to their children and their grandchildren, just really wanting to provide. And that's why um, during the pandemic, that stop and that um, shift in, now we're more quarantined. And it really had to be for a lot of people a positive shift because a lot of people they don't they're not looking they're looking more optimistically. They're not looking to divorce. And so during the pandemic, that may have been an issue with, I don't want a divorce. We just got married, and um, that is something that we have to really be caring to our, better mental health here, and that's a lot of times, it's very helpful. It's helpful for singles too, because we're just talking about married couples, but guided meditation is also very helpful for people who are, unwed, they're single, and it keeps them grounded in a lot of other types of matters, just in their life also. It helps with their vitality. But a lot of, there are a few other methods of guided meditation practices. And one of the ones that's helpful, it's called progressive, and there are a few, because I'll only discuss a few, because you mentioned mindfulness, and mindfulness is very helpful. It has very lasting and positive results in terms of that. And it's where we focus on our present moments and observe our thoughts and our feelings in order to reduce the stress, and what we were talking about, reducing stress. So mindfulness meditation is great for that, and it's probably great for maybe a couple. One of the mates wants to go by themselves, so that's more targeted, positive. Like if the man wants to go to therapy by himself, and it would be a very helpful method to put, like if the husband goes to mindfulness and the wife goes to another different type of guided meditation, it's probably one of the better methods to merge into a relationship, perhaps. I think it certainly is helpful in reducing stress and promoting, mental well-being. The other One of the other methods is progressive muscle relaxation, or progressive relaxation. People know it as progressive muscle relaxation. It involves using our physical capabilities, the tensing and relaxing of muscle groups to reduce stress and promote relaxation. So the purpose of that is it just strengthens and decreases anxiety and enhances overall physical and mental well-being, mental health well-being. So there are a lot of people who they really depend on progressive muscle relaxation. They really do. It's very useful to them because it helps decrease their stress levels of anything. A lot of people have, in marriages, that's helpful for partners to do that together. A lot of marriage relationships, and it's helpful for people who are, single. But it's more importantly, the methods that I just mentioned, the mindfulness and the progressive muscle relaxation. They're good for decreasing anything associated with medication. So, decreasing those symptoms of anxieties. And I know there's so many statistics and studies that show that the guided meditation really helped to decrease those factors and led to some better prospects in life. And then the one other one is in terms of, it leads to spiritual, and it's called loving kindness or metta meditation. And that's the one that is really it's known as a meditation of positive repetition. And, like Buddhists use it, it's a lot of, it's not just them in terms of their religious or spiritual understanding, but it's a lot of other religions that really you find that really lends to the metta meditation or the loving kindness meditation lends to that. And it really primarily just focuses on the idea of cultivation along with loving oneself, a loved one, and all other beings. And so that's what I think that's what happens with metta. And metta is very reparative for people who probably, couples or just singles that really are in very high maintenance or high management, very, very stressful career or job, employment types of situations. Metta or loving kindness meditation is very useful for that. And it's probably grounded in a lot of different religions. The the issue, the topic, the perhaps of loving kindness, because a lot of times, with a lot of spiritualists, they practice accepting humanity, accepting themselves, and seeing and trying to see themselves in humanity. And that's one of the higher, or it's one of the higher formats of, I would say that's a higher format of meditation. And it helps in relationships. All these, what we have spoken about um, right now, today, they help with the repairing and the longevity. And you'll find that a lot of relationships, it's all about for a lot of people just trying to keep it together. Um, One partner that may be a benefit for just but they stay married. It's not um, a lot of times both partners don't have to participate in the meditation process. If one of the partners does, it seems to work, you know, on some type of higher holistic um, journey or process for the relationship. So it's not one of those types of processes where, oh, I'm just gonna, we're, so and so, my spouse, they're threatening to divorce me, and I'm gonna run out and go get some guided into a, guided meditation, and that should help keep us together, And I'm not, there are people who drastically may do that because they think it's guided meditation is something for people. And I really think this is just my opinion, and people don't really need to really buy into my opinion. But I think that guided meditation is really certain forms of it is good for couples that have been married many years, and they just go do that. They go to do yoga or something. One of the partners does yoga, but it's really helpful for couples that have really been married for, several years, I mean, it helps with beginning couples, but I would say it's targeted to just really preserving the relationship. So it's not really good for couples to just run, one person. I'm gonna, you know, we're gonna get it's more preventative structure. So it's not for the couple that's, always saying we're about to get a divorce and we're in divorce court and I'm gonna run out and find a counselor or a therapist that specializes in guided meditation. So, but it's just my opinion. It may help people who are, you know, actively going through problems, marital problems or relationship problems. It might be helpful for that, but it's just in my opinion. And I don't know, you can lend to that, but it's very helpful for couples who have been married, um, and together for several years. It's helpful for one of the man or the woman, and it helps in minutes.
Okay, I agree. At the same time, I feel that guided meditation is meant for each and everyone at all levels of a relationship. Um, basically, you talked about it being holistic, right?
Yeah.
There's something unique about using guided meditation in marriage or in a relationship, and the unique part about it is that this the social aspect, the social aspect of this couple, the physical aspect of them, and also the spiritual and emotional aspects, they are all connected. And by that I mean, once you touch on the social aspect, you tend to um, you tend to touch on all the other aspects that comprise of these people. And by that, I'm going to talk about how meditation is quite useful in a marriage or relationship setting that's undergoing uh, certain challenges. Okay, in marriage, you find that there there are certain struggles that bring about stress. And back then, I talked about financial. It can be emotional detachment and everything. And you'll find that all these may lead to a form of stress within an individual. And mainly, stress it is a response, and stress is induced by a certain hormone called cortisol, which is produced by the adrenal glands. And cortisol, it's it's more of like the fight or flight part of us. Yeah, cortisol induces that part of us, which makes us want to fight back when faced with a certain maybe harmful or hurtful experience. And you'll find that meditation reduces the overactive stress response, which allows us to be more calm and more balanced. And in this, by lowering the cortisol itself, you allow the persons within a relationship to think more clearly, to be in a better mood, and also to be patient with themselves and their partners as well. And with this, guided meditation itself, it comes with a lot of benefits. And most of these benefits include reducing on stress itself. It strengthens the bond, it builds empathy, and also it is a form of coping tool. Yeah, in terms of mental health challenges. So in terms of strengthening the bond within the two people, we talked about love and kindness meditation. You'll find that once a couple is aware that this form of meditation, it allows, or it's it basically allows them to grow together. It's a form of connecting with each other, but in a more warm and caring way. It tends to build up the trust. It builds up the trust. It builds up the care. It builds up the empathy that they feel within themselves. And also, in terms of it being a tool for mental health challenges, um, basically you won't scrape off the challenges that come with mental health, but the meditation itself is a way of reducing the aversive part of these challenges. And with that, I think it allows us to be more human. It allows us to be more connected to ourselves. It allows us to be more attentive of our surroundings and everything that's happening around us. Yeah, and yeah, that quite explains it.
Yeah, that's fantastic what you just brought out. I think that that is so helpful in terms of the understanding, the real committed understanding to what the guided meditation is. And in terms of that, I think we both expounded, and brought some clear issues to our listeners about what benefit this can have for mental health and just long-term better quality of life. So we'll probably run out of time today for our conversation. And I thank Maryhope for joining us and giving us so much useful information about the subject. And I'm glad that she was able to join us here again and that we were able to talk um, further about some really exciting benefits on this subject. And hopefully we'll be back again to speak more. But to our listeners, thank you. And thanks to Mary again for bringing a lot of very good information about this topic. We hope to be back again. And so you all have a good week. And thank you again, Mary. Thank you.
Thank you.